passed in 2019.
But the same affliction
out of there.
hit her here. The same problem she had in 2020 hit her in 2024. I mean, it's not all her fault. They put her in a race that she, well, we now know couldn't win.
Yeah.
But Karen, in fairness to Democrats, there's no doubt. I agree with you on unrealized capital gains. We shouldn't be taxing that. But we produce more wealth, more innovation, more oil, more cures, more therapeutics over the last 3 years. So I hear you. Democrats are not bad for the economy. Some things she proposed that I'm with you on. But we're a great country, and we're going to continue to be great. And I trust and hope and believe that President
Your party will be great again.
I want the
and you can thank Donald Trump for that.
But he inherited an economy also that was in pretty good shape. I don't want to quarrel about that. All I want is going forward. I agree with you. I want the country to be great, and I hope that both of the parties can work together to try and do that. And I salute President Trump tonight. What a great win. And I agree with you in this regard. My party's got to reimagine and reinvent itself going forward.
Listen, I wrote about this, the unity and past presidents and past losers and winners and what they said. This is a big speech, Brett, for former President Trump as he gets ready to deliver this in front of a crowd. He's obviously taken the slings and arrows and everything that's been said, the fascism, all of the things we talked about tonight. But this moment is actually a moment to reach out.
It's an opportunity if he chooses to do that, but it's also 1:30 in the morning. So you got to wonder how many people are alive to hear. But
they're there.
A lot
of people are still up.
The question is, how much is the national TV audience?
I bet they're still in.
You know, I think back at the moment in Iowa, at the beginning of this process, Brett, when we went to town hall with him, bless you, Brett, and he, we asked him about all of this revenge stuff and that he was going to want retribution, and this is what everyone heard. And there were times when he had language that was that matched that, but he said that he wanted success to be his revenge, and that he wanted a successful America. And I would imagine that we're going to hear something along those lines tonight, but we'll see.
Brett, you wrote in your piece, you quoted one of those great old Republican presidents, H.W. Bush, who said that a campaign is a disagreement and an election is a decision, and decisions clear the way for harmony and peace. You know,
so listen, there are a lot of Thanksgiving tables that people are still going to have hard feelings after this election, more than any other election.
I have one of them.
And if you passing the Brussels sprouts is not going to be as easy Thanksgiving Day, but this is a chance to move forward. Brett, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that one thing that can happen here, and it happened to Biden in my view. Biden was elected. We had every reason to believe that he would be this sort of moderate deal-making guy that he'd been when he was in the Senate. Yes, he's always followed sort of the drift of his party, but he worked across the aisle with many senators, had Republican friends and so on. We thought that would probably be the kind of president he was. And then something happened. Trump went to Georgia and made a mess of that Senate, those two Senate races down there, and the Democrats ended up with control of the Senate, at which point old Biden started getting these historical sugar plums dancing in his head and went out for a very aggressive agenda.
Sure, there were articles about FDR.
Oh,
he was going to be the next FDR.
Next FDR, he was going to out Obama. Remember that?
Yep.
Well, in my view, that was he would have been, if the Republicans had maintained control of the Senate, first thing that wouldn't have happened was all that wild spending that led to the inflation, or led to a big part of the inflation. And Biden and the country would have been better off, because there's always a danger in overreading your mandate. One wonders if Trump would be sober-minded about his.
I think that happened to Biden. Early on, remember, he said that he's going to be returned to norms, and then the historians came in and said, no, you could be bigger than FDR. So he says, fine, okay, I'll spend all the money. Then they caused inflation, and now they end up with this result.
Well, he has said that this looks like new President Trump, if he gets to 270, which we expect he will, fairly shortly, yes, exactly, has a moment to bring about the unity that people expected after the last election. Of course, we would be kidding ourselves to think that there won't be a tremendous response to this, tremendous backlash in a lot of corners of the country.
So listen, he's going to get there because Alaska's going to be Republican, but we're not done. As far as calling states, there could be even more states that go Trump's way. This could be a massive landslide just by what we're looking at in the polls. Fox News decision that's counting on for Jeff President Harris will win Minnesota, and her running mate Tim Walz serves as the state's governor there. That takes it up to 267 to 226. But again, Donald J. Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. More Democracy 24 special coverage next.
If you have generalized myasthenia gravis, picture what life could look like with Vyvgart Hytrulo, a subcutaneous injection that takes about 30
We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. Why can't you see what you're doing to me? When you don't believe a word I say. We can't go on together with suspicious minds. And we can build our dreams on suspicious minds. So if a old friend I know, I start to say hello, would I still see suspicion in your eyes? Here we go again. Ask me where I've been. You can't see the tears I realize. We can't go on together with suspicious minds. And we can't build our dreams on suspicious minds. Oh, let our love survive. Oh, dry the tears from your eyes. Let's don't let a good thing die. No, I'll never lie to you. We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because of love.
And they are about to explode at Trump headquarters in West Palm Beach. You see thousands of people waiting, and we are about to hear from the next president of the United States. He will be 45 and 47, and we're waiting for him to join the room. We'll take you there, obviously, as soon as that gets underway. In the meantime, Grady Trimble is in Michigan. Let's get a quick update just outside of Detroit. Hi, Grady.
Hey, Martha. Yeah, people were getting a little bit tired here, but then the call for Pennsylvania was like a jolt of electricity through this room at the Michigan GOP watch party. And the crowd started chanting USA. They started chanting Trump, 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 as it now appears he will be the 47th president of the United States. Now, in addition to Trump and the call for him in Pennsylvania, they're also excited about the possibility that Michigan could be the state that tips him over that magic 270 number. We're also following a very close Senate race here in Michigan, and they're feeling very confident about that as well. Republican candidate Mike Rogers looks like he could cruise to victory with the help of former President Trump. Democratic candidate Alyssa Slotkin, she went out to her crowd at her watch party at around 12:30 tonight and told them to go home and go to sleep, where here they extended this ballroom venue all through the night if they had to, and now it looks like the crowd is fired up as they await former President Trump taking the stage.
Okay, Grady, thank you. It is really important to point out how big the coattails could be tonight. Think about Bernie Moreno in Ohio. Was thought dead in the water against Sherrod Brown. He wins. We have right now at this hour, as Grady mentioned, Mike Rogers in Michigan is up. Looks like he is getting closer. We haven't made a call there yet. Hovde in Wisconsin, leading right now. Sam Brown in Nevada is closing in on Jackie Rosen. We're talking about historic numbers here. If all of these dominoes fall, you're talking about a Senate that could be 54-46, 55-45. That wasn't in the cards. That
Not at
wasn't
all.
on anybody's bingo card when you came into election.
Wasn't in the card.
But these candidates have all fought really strong races, and they have all closed in a very strong way. And in fact, many of them were sort of pulling into, +5, +6 in just over the last 3 weeks. So it's a fascinating part of the story. Hopefully, we'll be able to call some more of those soon.
Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says with these coattails, you could see the House going Republican as well, and that would be a part of this story as well. Let's go back out to Trace Gallagher on the West Coast with his panel. Hey, Trace.
Brett, thank you. Martha, thank you as well. We've got our panel, Steve Hilton, Jody Armour, Kaylee McGee-White, and John O'Caldwell. You're talking to your panel, Brett and Martha, and we were talking to ours, and Kaylee McGee-White was struck by the whole concept that, again, Trump was undercounted. Kaylee.
This is the third consecutive polling miss in a presidential cycle for Donald Trump. And we really need to be asking ourselves, why do they keep getting it wrong? And at this point, it is a choice. Back in 2016, you could argue that you were blindsided. You didn't expect it. You cannot say that anymore. This was predictable from the very start. And I think the reason they keep getting it wrong is because they still don't understand the average Trump voter. They cannot wrap their heads around why so many people support him. And it's because for a long time, actually for the past decade or so, Democrats in power didn't think they needed to. And even worse, they didn't want to. They didn't want to have to stoop down to understand the concerns over immigration, over the economy. And guess what? The American people sent a very clear message tonight that you better start paying attention, and you better start paying attention soon.
We heard a lot of words, demographic. I don't know how many times we heard it, Steve Hilton, but Gianna, you talk about black voters, black male voters especially. We heard it again and again tonight, and you think it's worth talking about.
I think this is a historic night. Black men will now, those who voted for Trump will be counted as those who helped save America from further decline. I mean, Kamala Harris has tried her best to create these accents like, you better act like a union member, all of these things that she's done to try to appeal to this community, even going on Oprah Winfrey's talk show or whatever that was to say, oh, I'll pull out my gun and shoot someone that tries to come into my house. I mean, this is become nonsensical to the point that I don't know if we're looking at Medea runs for president or not. I mean, this is outstanding what has happened from the black male perspective, and I hope the Republican Party takes note.
Yeah, and you talk about young males and younger voters, Jody Armour. You're a law professor at the University of Southern California. You know what young people are geared into. Are you surprised when you see these voter analysis numbers that young voters came out heavy for Donald Trump?
Yeah, well, young voters can sniff out a fraud. They can sniff out somebody who's chameleon-like. She changes her position according to the prevailing winds. They didn't like that. Many across the country, young students said, for me, a red line also is mass atrocities, is collective punishment, is what I see going on in the Middle East, and I see us as complicit in. And so they, were saying, I'm not just that enthusiastic. Yeah, I'm not going to get out.
I got 15 seconds for you, Steve.
I just think when I see this unfold, Trace, it is just a massive victory.
Oh, we got to jump back. Sorry, guys, back to you. We got to jump back.
Trace, thank you. The Fox News decision desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
The former president's comeback will be complete with a win in Wisconsin, a state that he narrowly lost 4 years ago. He is now the second president in U.S. history to win non-consecutive terms. The first was Grover Cleveland in the late 1800s. Senator J.D. Vance will become the 50th vice president of the United States. Voters expressed deep frustration with the Biden administration, and former President Trump and the future President Trump overperformed in urban areas, particularly with men, proving that the strategy that they doubled and tripled down on over the course of the last few months absolutely succeeded and brought him back to the White House.
47th president of the United States, former President Trump now defeats Vice President Kamala Harris, who entered this race just over 100 days ago. And for Democrats, they were projecting the possibility of running the table with battleground states. David Plouffe with the Democratic campaign of Harris campaign suggested that just yesterday. Now it is possible that Donald Trump runs the table with these states and builds on a big landslide electoral win. We don't know where the popular vote is going to finish out, but we do know that he will be going back to the White House, and with him, Britt Hume, will be a lot of changes because he will have been there once and will know what he wants to do.
You know, he often accounts for the fact that he had so much turnover in his first term and in his term as president by the fact that he really know Washington, and he was new to this realm that he had come to run the presidency in, and he promises us that now he knows whom he wants to hire, now he knows the kind of people he wants to have around him. A lot of people are saying that means a lot of very experienced people around Washington will be ruled out, and maybe they will. But it's going to be very interesting to see the kind of people he reaches out to and reaches out for in the days and weeks ahead as he builds his administration.
We're joined by Kayleigh McEnany, Trey Gowdy, and Katie Pavlich. Kayleigh, you've been part of the last administration. You've seen you can see the joy in all those people's faces. Think about the angst and the, all that this campaign has been through. And now there is the prospect of creating what you want to create in a second administration. Your thoughts, 30,000 feet of this win.
Indictments, 2 assassination attempts, an unlikely come-from-behind victory, and history is made tonight. This is a huge moment, particularly because this is a tectonic shift of the Republican Party. If all of this exit polling is true, you now have Black voters, Latino voters, young voters coming in a way that we haven't seen the party bring in a very long time, and that's due to former President, now soon to be current President Trump. And I just want to say this as we wait for him to come out. I remember having a conversation with Ivanka Trump in 2016 about his remarks. And before he went out to give those remarks, he had speech A and speech B. Speech A was a more boisterous Trumpian speech. Speech B was a speech full of unity. And he looked up, Ivanka said, saw the faces of crying Hillary voters. He ripped up the boisterous speech and said he wanted to heal the nation. And the first words he said were an appreciation for Hillary Clinton, for her service to our country. And then he said, now it is time for America to bind the wounds of division. And he said, we are a party of all races, creeds, and religions. That is more true tonight than it was 8 years ago. And I fully expect President Trump right now is maybe ripping up that more boisterous speech and preparing to unite the country.
It's an amazing message.
I hope Kayleigh's right. I hope you're right. And we're gonna get a chance to see here in a minute. Trey Gowdy said something on your show the other day about how one of the things that you hope also is they're a little more prepared this time. They've got a great transition team, and they're going to need it. And I hope that there are a lot of people who want to go in and be helpful.
Trey?
Yeah, I think his transition team has done a wonderful job vetting potential candidates. And to Kayleigh's point, I think a liberated Donald Trump, he's never going to be on the ballot again. This is his last term. I think, Harold, he will surprise his detractors. I think he will be not anything like what his detractors have described him as being now that he is liberated. If I'm wrong, you can hold me to that. But I think he will, a liberated Donald Trump is going to shock his detractors.
He has said that the assassination attempts had an impact on him. We saw him in many ways return to the very rough and tumble style that we've seen in Donald Trump towards the end of this. But now he will take the stage tonight as the next president of the United States, and he will not be able to run again. Yeah. And I think that is another liberating factor potentially for President Trump. Katie.
We'll never underestimate the power of unfinished business. This is a president who has caught lightning in a bottle twice, and the second time around, he now has a MAGA mandate. He will have a Senate that he can use to push through his cabinet appointees, who can work with him on legislation, who could potentially replace a number of justices on the Supreme Court.
He could build a wall.
He could build a wall. He has a working group in Washington, D.C. We'll see what happens with the House, but he also has been working very hard on his transition, get the right people around him. He talks about the lessons he's learned, but the first time in the White House. So this is a mandate tonight for him. And I think he should get a lot of credit for doing the work on the ground, going to these states to pull these Senate candidates across the line with them.
What do you think the analysis is going to be? There's going to be a lot of time to digest all of this. We'll focus now on what the incoming president is going to say. What do you think the analysis is going to be on the Democratic Party and what went wrong?
I think it's going to be agonizing. I think it's going to take a little while. for consensus to form about what the party needs to do next, or what it did wrong this time. It'll be grudging at first. One can certainly imagine that, if the party were smart and shrewd political voices were heeded, that there'd be some major changes in their agenda and their approach in this. And you think of the issue sets that they've tried to run on against this man that failed. They need to reconsider all of them. And I think it'll take a while. Now, our colleague and friend Mark Halperin, who's been very astute this particular cycle, he thinks there's going to be blood in the streets and people are going to be hysterical. I hope not, but it could happen.
Dana?
I am really looking forward to reading some of the stories, probably with a lot of anonymous sources amongst Democrats with the recriminations, and it's going to be fast and furious. And you will have people saying that Joe Biden should have dropped out the day after, not dropped out, but said he was not running for re-election on the day after that midterm in 2022, and either endorsed her or said, let there be a primary, and Dr. Jill Biden, there will be thoughts about her. And I wonder how chilly that White House is going to be for the next 90 days as they try to figure it out.
And let me just say that as Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris will certify the election results on January 6th.
A lot of irony in that moment. Harold, your thoughts?
This is how our country is organized, and it's a great education, I think, for people who had very high passions in this race. There are Democrats who were fervently for Joe Biden. He performed poorly during a debate, and the party switched to Kamala Harris, and there was genuine excitement, I think, built over a period of time. And some of that excitement was an aversion and almost a dislike and a disdain for Donald Trump. But I hope it's a moment that we can all grow from, because if we don't, not in a selfish, partisan way, Democrats won't progress. And I don't think you can fly and soar as a great country unless you have both wings working together. And President Trump, tonight, I'm going to be interested in that tone. Kayla, I was reminded of your words, reminded of what you said as you shared it. I remembered that story. And I hope and pray for the country tonight that President Trump, who has every right to be joyful, every right to celebrate, will give a speech with that tone tonight that in many ways could help him do all the things that he campaigned on in this campaign.
What does this mean for the Never Trumpers, the Republicans, and the Lincoln Project people, and Bill Kristol, and people like that who seem to abandon everything they never previously believed in order to oppose Donald Trump?
Kellyanne?
We'll get to the Never Trumpers soon enough and the hundreds of millions of dollars wasted on them. Look, Donald Trump won this on policy and personality. I don't want to be remiss here. He is talking about energy independence, manufacturing, an economy where everybody is working, no new foreign wars, getting out of the entanglements we currently have, respecting and resourcing law enforcement, border patrol, military. And by the way, friends, we don't get those policies without that personality. What did we hear during the Republican primaries? I want Donald Trump's policies without his personality. Good luck with that. You don't get this strength and this resolve and this toughness. You don't get those policies without that. But I want to say this, it's on this phone that Huma Abedin placed a call 2:30 a.m. on November 9th, 2016. And on the other line was Secretary Clinton to concede the race to Donald Trump on my phone. I handed it to him and I said to Vice President-elect Mike Pence, make sure Hillary actually concedes. She did. And President Trump was gracious to them too. They came to the luncheon at the Capitol after the inauguration. The Obamas and the Clintons were there. I was there to see it myself. And then something just changed. The Washington Post said, let's impeach him at noon, 2 minutes after he's inaugurated. Melania wrote about this in her book. So Harold, I hear you. I hope everybody can unify. But I got to tell you, my friend, I think it starts with your party and not mine.
Fair enough.
They got to be, they had this guy in a courtroom. He's not an indoor cat. I get it. They have him, and they had him in the courtroom. They have him impeached. They have him, and whether people think that was justified or not, now is a good time to respect the will of the people. Get that us, the will of the people.
I agree with you. I'm just saying be a gracious winner and let's move the country
Yes,
forward.
and he will.
I agree. And I know you will. That was my only point.
I heard a gracious winner today when I talked to him. I really did. He's known for a while. I wrote a piece on FoxNews.com October 11th saying he's going to have a narrow landslide. I think he's felt that for a while, but he wanted to go and earn it.
And I even think the
And she
people
didn't
around
earn
him
it.
have to be gracious too. I think he will. I know
that's a
him as well
different
as you.
thing. Yeah,
I
that's a
think people
different
around him can be gracious as
That's a
well.
different question.
We can always hope.
Yeah, well, that comes from the top.
Once more, I just want to say how much money was spent on this election. $15.9 billion with a bill.
Wow.
B, if you spent $1,000 a day for 2,740 years, that would be $1 billion. It was 16 times that. What has been spent on every race, presidency, the whole deal. $16 billion. And here we are.
What is that, a
And when
check
you
you can
look
write
at
to
the-
for every American? What did you
About
say?
$50, if not $40.
About $50.
But I just want to say, every presidential race has a medium. You know, you go back to television, cable. This was, in some ways, a podcast experience of a campaign. And those are free to go on podcasts. And you wonder how much of that money really needed to be spent. There's a lot of ways to reach people, but I think it's really interesting and something we'll be talking about a lot in terms of the reach of these endorsements.
No, I'm struck by the
Rogan
final,
and Musk and the rest of
the
them.
final ads where
They were excellent.
They talked about making America great again, but then ending with the assassination attempt and that fist in the air, the iconic image, and the fight.
Took a
bullet for this.
Warrior president.
Yeah, toughest son of a gun we ever saw. That was the last note we see in that ad. And I think, for whatever you think of the guy, you got to admire that.
Yeah.
I mean, the adversity he's faced, everything we've seen in other presidencies and other political figures who've gone through all kinds of trouble are pale in comparison to what he's been put through.
No,
Maybe it's time for his enemies to stop it.
Not only that, but the energy that he has is truly amazing. He's the Energizer Bunny. Let's check in with Aisha Hosni, speaking of the Energizer Bunny, at Trump headquarters in West Palm. Aisha, this has been a big night all night long. I'm sure it's really getting fever pitch now.
A big night, Brett and Martha, a long campaign for the former president, for all of us, the press corps that have been following him around now for more than a year. The crowd went absolutely nuts when Fox News called it here, and people were hugging each other, they were high-fiving each other, that people were on FaceTiming. I think they couldn't believe it that this happened tonight and they didn't have to wait days and days and days. We are now awaiting the former president to take the podium. He is here in the building, as is his running mate, now Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. They're backstage. We were told they were going to come out as soon as the election was called. And so now we're just waiting. We asked for a 2-minute warning. I don't know if we're going to get one, but hopefully we will see him soon. And so I just want to add a little bit of perspective, just as a Capitol Hill reporter that's been covering the former president for a while. When I came to Congress 3 years ago, talked privately with many powerful Republicans who did not want to see the former president back in Washington, and then to see the legal battles that he went through and Republicans having to stand up for him. And then he went through the primary process. As Kellyanne Conway just said, he earned it state by state by state, and then came back to Washington in the spring and went to the RNC and claimed the nomination. This is the greatest comeback that I've ever witnessed personally myself. And so I look forward to seeing what he says to the country here tonight and to his supporters. Back to you.
Aisha, thank you. The Harris team is now texting to say Vice President Harris will speak tomorrow, and that will be her response to the election results. That's all we have from the Harris team, which is really strange. I mean, from a PR perspective, Dan.
No, I also just think it's a shame, because I remember when John Kerry did this to George W. Bush in 2004, and you work so hard, and I know that they're disappointed, but you should concede and let your opponent have their election night, and let everybody that's there at Trump, at Mar-a-Lago, where are they? They're in Palm Beach.
They're in West Palm at the
They're in West Palm
convention
Beach,
center.
At the convention center, like, let them have their moment without anyone. Like, I remember Andy Card had to come in and say, well, yes, we know we won, but we have to wait until John Kerry concedes, and then we all had to traipse back in the next morning and wait, and you don't get that moment. I don't think it's right. And
That's not to say there's not going to be a phone call. There could be a phone call tonight, but she's not going to speak public.
if there's a phone call, they have to make it public. And then nobody needs to hear from her. So if I were her, I would do it tonight.
I mean, they had that whole setup in front of
Get it over with.
Yes, all of her people were already there.
Everybody was there, and it does feel like you want to just collect the moment
right.
and do it the way that
But they
people
were,
do.
they were holding out hope. They were holding out hope that the blue wall could somehow come together, but it's going to be a red wall.
90 minutes before that, they were told to go to bed.
I got that text.
90 minutes before all of this, Jen O'Malley Dillon, the Harris campaign person, said, everyone can go to bed and come back tomorrow. So.
She didn't even address her own supporters. We want her to call President Trump. She didn't talk to the people who were assembled there for hours for her. It just seems very ungracious. By the way, it ended up being a very bad split screen. You probably couldn't see it in here, but they're filing out and he's expanding his folks and they're all excited for him. Look, I think that Kamala Harris is a sign of the times, but I think that Trump's a metaphor for the country. And when he says we don't surrender, fight, 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 we get back up. I just think I think that's what it is. The other thing I just want to say, maybe it's as a Catholic, maybe it's just as a Trump supporter, maybe it's just as a flawed human being. We all get second chances in this life. Rarely do we get a second chance as big as this one. And I have got to believe the man that I know and that Kayleigh worked with is going to work with a certain alacrity and energy to get things done very quickly. What he can do through executive order, what he can do with the Congress, bringing in the governors. Nobody gets a second chance this big in their lives.
So you come out
and just puts it on the shelf like it's a trophy or a gold star. He's going to use that as a platform for good and undo some of these bad policies, and I think do even better. You know, these celebrities, these athletes, he's got job creators and innovators. He's got Elon Musk and Dana. He's got people who make stuff, who people say, wow, there's an American success story, and he's going to bring them aboard.
So Vice President Harris has now encountered what is known as the Van Buren curse. It's the failure of the vice president to get to the presidency. Only two have done it, and that is Mark Van Buren in 1836 and George H.W. Bush in 1988. You know, the question is what the Republican Party looks like now. And Kayleigh, it's a multiracial party, to your point. It's working class, and maybe it's the future. I mean, it's Elon Musk. It is Joe Rogan and podcasts. It is, you know, there's an opportunity here on both parties to realign
three stories and bringing them back.
There are going to be a lot of conversations that go on to that end.
Who
is the next standard bearer for president? Is it J.D. Vance? Is he the one who picks up the torch after a 4-year legacy-defining term with the success that Kellyanne's describing? Is it J.D. Vance that picks it up? There's going to be a conversation about ground game. I mean, Kamala Harris over the weekend, they were saying they were knocking 1,000 doors a minute, and I have no reason to doubt that. It was an extraordinary ground game, but do ground games matter as much as podcasts? As much as real, authentic, viral moments like President Trump on the garbage truck, or President Trump at McDonald's. These viral moments that really captured the attention of the nation. And what does the Republican Party look like going forward? It's a broad coalition. It's an exciting coalition, and I think if President Trump manifests that working man agenda, no tax on tips, no limits on credit card interest rate, that's a working man's economic agenda. And if he makes that happen in 4 years, this party may look like this for quite some time.
You know, I'm struck when you're talking about the authenticity part of this, because when I think about him with the French fries at McDonald's and standing up with blood on his face, fight, fight, fight. You can't fabricate. No, consultant can create those moments, Trey. Those are organic and they are authentic. And I think that is something that Kamala Harris fell really far short on in terms of the authenticity measure.
Yeah, if you had told me that a billionaire from New York would be able to connect with middle America, I would have questioned that. To my friend, the gentleman from Tennessee, autopsies are painful, especially when the patient's still alive. I wonder what the Democrat Party is going to go through in the next weeks and months, because this was a loss that I don't think anyone saw coming, not to this magnitude. So what does the autopsy look like if you're a Democrat? It's painful, but you have to have one. How did you lose, and how did you lose the South?
The easiest way to do it for them is really simple to say, if Joe Biden hadn't clung to the job clung to the nomination and hidden his condition with a lot of help, they could have had an open nominating process and gotten a more attractive nominee.
But I don't know
who would have been freer to walk away from Biden policies and would have had a better shot. I mean, I think that's the easiest, simplest solution. But I'm not sure that's where they'll go. But that makes
I
sense.
don't think you can pass over an African-American female, which is a very loyal constituency for the Democrat Party. I don't see how they had to pass
But
over.
if he left the office and she'd run, she would have been put through a different process and would have had competition, and the whole thing would have been different.
But I mean, but Harold, you have a Democratic Party that's pretty old. I mean, you have Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden.
You got Andy Beshear, you got Josh Shapiro, you got Greg Swimmer,
That's a different kind of Democrat, and that is not the progressive Democrat that wins in a primary. So is it going to be a change in your party?
Well, we nominated Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, who were not from
the old days
party. So I think we'll do that. Look, tonight, what happened this evening and what's happened over the last year has been described. There were those on this panel who didn't believe that this resurrection could have occurred. So if this can happen, things are possible in politics if you're willing to change and willing to have courage and determination. And whatever Democrats or anybody want to say about this guy who's been elected our president, he personifies that courage and determination and persistence. So I think Trey, you were asking a serious question, and Britt gave a very serious answer. I think that's going to be part of the answer. And we've got to look long and hard about whether or not the way we campaign sometimes with identity politics, then at the end, is that the right way to do it? But before you get there, you got to get a purpose and a message. And we'll get there. And we've got a long history of figuring these things out as a nation, as a party, and we'll figure it out this time.
So the Carnage speech got a lot of attention at the inauguration. Do we think that?
Oh yeah.
This speech.
I was going way back.
We're actually told that the teleprompters have been removed from the stage, so we could be in for a long haul here. We don't know. But what do you think? You know, he's coming, but there may not be.
I'm saying he goes off the teleprompter anyway. But he, the other night at the Al Smith dinner, he was upset that there were teleprompters. So, because he doesn't want to use them.
Right. So Dana, what does this speech look like?
This one right now?
Yeah.
I think look, I don't know. He's one of the most unpredictable people too. So I think that's why we're all here, and I'm wide awake, and I've been awake for almost 24 hours now. And I am curious to see. I think I wasn't just thinking about this speech. I'm thinking about the inauguration speech, which would be 8 years since Carnage speech. He has a wide range of the types of speeches that he can give. If you think even within a speech, there's range. If you think about the RNC convention, it started off with like, oh, wow, yeah. And then after a while, it was like, wow, he's still talking. It was like so long, and then kind of got off script, and people thought, oh, he kind of lost opportunity. But he didn't. I think if you look at these people who would take off work, drive somewhere in the middle of the night to go and get in line, to wait for hours, to then stay at a rally for hours. And part of the things he has done as well is created this camaraderie amongst people so that you could go to a place where you're not afraid to wear your red MAGA hat, and you could say, I'm not the crazy one. I'm not the only one who thinks the way that I do. I can actually have friends. And that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be outreach to the other side. I believe in love thy neighbor. I love all of that. But he has created something special here. So I kind of want him to take a victory lap tonight. I don't think this is necessarily the moment for unity, especially when she won't even concede and give him the night to celebrate.
Kellyanne, you were looking at the popular vote. He's still up and could finish up.
And part of it is because he did run up the totals in
Popular
places I was
vote
looking at, even the
in the
rural
election.
counties in Pennsylvania. He was going to win them by
Shut up.
significant double digits, but he won them that much more. I think running up the totals in Florida, which was a swing state not that long ago, over 1.1 million votes or so. Haley, right, your home state. And this is, look, I think that when the Democrats take a look at this candidacy, it's not going to be that she had too much time, not enough time. She's just a flawed candidate. She doesn't speak well. She doesn't work hard. I'm not being mean or partisan. I don't know why the country would have rewarded this candidate with the big job. when she couldn't make the case, what she does as vice president that affects our lives in a positive way. She was given that opportunity. I personally like to thank the women of The View tonight for asking this question, for having her on. Oprah, we see you, and so on and so forth. People who thought they were doing her a favor because they made her something she's not. It's the opposite for Trump. They make him something he's not. Take that one word, take that one line, take that cherry pick this, that, the other. You never get the essence. I go back, does everybody remember 5 years ago, so Laurel and Yanny, or what color dress? You hear Laurel, I hear Yanny. You see a blue dress, I see yellow dress. We were all looking at the same thing. That's the way Donald Trump is in this country. There are people who look exactly the same person and they see two different vistas. I think it's time that we try to see one. Look, I don't know who said it earlier. I'm a little worried about the reaction of the Democrats and the common people here. I'm very worried. I think that there are a lot of unhinged people across the political spectrum. And we gave very little quarter to how many anti-Kamala voters are out there. I don't want to hear the words racism and sexism. It's eyesight and hearing. We were listening and watching her. And I'm very worried that we've not talked a lot about how violent people may be and angry because she lost. Right. I'm afraid of that.
Right. I mean, I can just imagine thinking about The View, and a week or so ago, they were saying, what is wrong with someone who would vote for him?
Michelle Obama.
And Joe Scarborough saying, we weren't raised like this. Who raised these people? So I can only imagine what tomorrow is going to look like.
I will say when we talk about The View, what comes to mind is we mentioned the carnage speech that President Trump gave at his inauguration. And my mind automatically went to the unity speech that Biden gave, and he mentioned unity a half dozen times. But when you think about what we got over 4 years, there was the garbage comment that didn't come in isolation. There were all kinds of comments. Neanderthal was one of the first words he used to describe those who opposed his COVID edicts. The Mark Cuban comment, he was an official surrogate of the Kamala campaign. And for, as mean as some of President Donald Trump's tweets have been and people have problems with it, one thing I've challenged Democrats to find is one example of him disparaging the country, half of the country, and that's something he has not done. And so I expect you'll hear a unifying tone, and I expect you're going to see a very successful presidency and one untethered maybe from some of the things that were holding him back. What comes to mind is an Oval Office meeting that we had where Dr. Fauci was urging him not to open the country. And I watched President Trump fight vociferously, saying people are losing their jobs. We must open the country. He wanted to do it sooner than he did. I think that Donald Trump, who goes with his instincts, is going to be a Trump that ultimately leads a very successful country in second term.
Martha, Joe Biden mentioned the word unity more in his inaugural address than any president, I think, except one. If he's serious about that, he'll pardon Donald Trump. He'll also pardon his son. And then he'll put pressure on Georgia and New York to end this lawfare. If there is any silver lining tonight, it is that lawfare actually helps the person that you are trying to go after. We need a justice system. The lady needs to wear a blindfold for a reason. We got to stop this prosecution of our political enemies.
I mean, literally, this whole
thing will be the Attorney General.
Absolutely.
We need a really solid Attorney General.
John Ratcliffe.
Can do it.
Sorry, John. Sorry, John. I apologize. Sorry.
There will be a lot of talk about cabinet members, Treasury Secretary, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. You've got Tom Cotton, Mike Pompeo. You have.
Well, you also have a Republican bench. And sometimes, like you were saying, that the Democratic Party is quite old right now. There's not a great bench, although there are some, and especially, but when you take governors out of states, then you leave a hole, and then they have to build up that bench back up. But the Republican bench is pretty strong right now.
There you see Doug Burgum and Vivek Ramaswamy, Steve Wynn, his lovely wife Andrea. So people are there waiting for the former president. Britt would like to know where he is.
He's watching us.
Can we say tonight, though, Harold, that the melting pot still works? That Hispanics, Black Americans, working class Americans, standing up, asking what their government is going to do, asking their government to see them and their concerns, that it works, that this is American democracy in our republic.
The process works. I think as we get a final account of the numbers and the coalition that President Trump one with this time. I think it'll be one that will be for the history books. President Bush, I think, got 40+% of the Hispanic vote. George Bush, W. Bush, and it looks like President, at least the preliminary numbers suggest that. But as much as we talk about the unconventional aspect of this was conventional also. People believed him. He resonated with voters. He resonated with communities, rural communities, urban communities, suburban communities across the country. And I congratulate him tonight. I didn't want him to win, but I congratulate him on his victory and wish him the best for my country. And I can only hope that the concerns that are articulated by my dear friend Kellyanne, that they're not realized. I hope that my party and my friends, and for that matter, Republicans alike, that we're all able, once we get past the moment here, the 24 hours of excitement and joy and celebration, to understand that what we're really celebrating is the greatest experiment to have ever come to existence. It'll celebrate 250 years of its own existence in 2026. So those are my thoughts, Brett.
I'm struck by the issue of abortion, because it was talked about so much, and it was presented as if, you're a woman and you are not going to support her, then you hate all women. They said that husbands, were hateful towards their wives and the women in their lives if they didn't support this candidate. And I think it just goes to show that kind of, manipulating, it doesn't win.
And narrow casting us based on our gender. I think Kamala Harris was talking to us from the waist down. And I think Donald Trump was talking to us from the waist up as well. That's where my eyes, my ears, my heart, my brain, and my big mouth are. So, you got to talk to the woman in full. It's as if she doesn't know anything about the economy, or she doesn't care about what's going on in Ukraine or Israel or with Iran, or can't do the math on her grocery bill. It's an insult. Of course people care, but we care about many things. Just as we are not monolithic in life, we're not monolithic thinkers politically. But Martha, something else happened. They put these ballot initiatives on to try to gin up turnout for the Democrat. And they did that, and it kind of backfired. Look at this popular vote. And it backfired. The other thing is, if you've got 10 abortion ballot initiatives, you can vote your conscience on abortion, and you can vote separately or similarly for president. The presidential race was not a proxy for your position on abortion. By the way, somebody sent me the statistics. Over $500 million spent on ads about abortion. $500 million in this country out of the 16 billion Brett is talking about. 37 million for pro-lifers. The rest was the pro-choicers. It's just insane amount of money.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about markets tonight and the betting markets. Trey, at this point, it's at about 66% that Republicans hold on to the House as they're ticking down the possibilities, and they look at these coattails with not only the popular vote, but what could be and is shaping up to be an electoral college landslide. Should he control the White House, the Senate, and the House, like he did at the beginning of 2016, the possibilities open to a lot of things.
Yeah, I was there in 2016, and we had everything but an agenda. That mistake will not be made this time. He will deal with the border. He will deal with tax is coming up. There is a plan being formulated by Mike Johnson right now, and John Thune or John Cornyn or whoever becomes the majority leader. The mistakes of 2016, I think we were surprised that he won. I'm not saying he was surprised, but others were surprised. The other thing I will remind you, Brett, when he won in 2016, you recall what he said about Hillary Clinton. She's been through enough. There was a lot of pressure to prosecute her. He said she's been through enough. I wish my Democrat friends would say the same thing about him and say enough is enough. Drop the cases in New York and Georgia. Biden shouldn't wait on Donald Trump to end these federal cases. They should be ended by Joe Biden. If you really want unity, then quit using lawfare to divide the country. Quit using the justice system to try to win political races.
We are still following these Senate races, and as we wait for the former president, by the way, there's Nigel Farage there talking in the crowd there. Britt, this is remarkable in that some of these races were not even suspected to be close, expected to be close. Mike Rogers, he was a long shot at one point against Alyssa Slotkin.
Good candidate.
In Michigan, good candidate.
Wrong candidate.
Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee.
Right.
But Sam Brown was left essentially, he was not
he
going to
was
win.
not- He was not on anybody's list, likely switch.
Not getting much money or attention.
No, but I think he's a competent candidate. Once again, we have.
By the way, there's Sam Brown right there, 48.1 to 47.2, 80% in over Jackie Rosen.
How much the news are understanding that candidate quality matters.
Yeah.
In this cycle, Republicans in the Senate races in particular fielded some pretty darn good candidates that gave them a shot in states where Republicans often face an uphill battle. And the fact that, it looks like it won't be just a squeaker, there might be a little margin there for Republicans in the Senate is testament to that.
Let's see where Wisconsin is, guys. Can we put up Havdi in Wisconsin?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President-elect Donald J. Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and the Trump family, accompanied by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, Second Lady Usha Vance, along with friends and campaign staff.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And
A lot of goofies out there today.
the men who died, who gave
A lot of
that
goofies.
right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Hey. You want it fair and square, ho. Fair and square. That's right, man.
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
What a show. What a show.
Thank you very much. Wow. Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again.
Let's go, man.
And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But but it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have
like social media.
won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud of that. Thank you.
Congratulations, y'all. If y'all didn't follow me on Instagram, you was on the right side of history.
Thank you very much.
You didn't get caught on the wrong
Winning
side
the
of history.
popular vote was
Rocking
very
with your boy.
nice. Very nice, I will tell you.
I ain't even gonna
It's a
say
great-
too much.
A great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this
There's not.
very large room
I wouldn't steal you
with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group
Just
of
won
people
Pennsylvania.
beyond the president, this group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much.
I'm not even gonna hold you. They did their
And in
thing.
those
I'm
cases,
for the
every
first
one
time
of
in years.
them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races. And I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them. And sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. Who has the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? Oh, no, she's done a great job, works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her. But I want to thank my whole family. my amazing children, and they are amazing children. Now, we all think our children are amazing. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but that's a good thing when you think they are. But Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron, Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. What a great. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous, and we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance.
Lots of dreams. I really do.
And his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Usha Vance. And he is a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp. And you know, the enemy camp is certain networks. And a lot of people don't like to, sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay. Which one? CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks like, he's like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it. And then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates them. Say a couple of words here.
Wild. Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Thank you very much. He's turned out to be a good choice. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was, I knew the brain was a good one, about as good as it gets. And we love the family, and we're going to have a great 4 years, and we're going to turn our country around, make it something very special. It lost that little thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country and potentially the greatest country in the world by far. And right now we're going to just work very hard to get all of that back. We're going to make it the best it's ever been. We can do that. If we had to wait longer, I don't know. It was going bad, and it was going bad fast. We're going to have to seal up those borders, and we're going to have to let people come into our country. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris, the job you did. Susie, come here. Come here, Susie. Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The Ice Maiden, we call her the Ice Maiden. Come here, Chris. Come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay in the background. She's not in the background. Come here, Susie.
This wasn't expected, but I just want to thank, obviously, President Trump for this journey. It was a great one, and he's a hell of a candidate. He's going to be a hell of a great 47th president. And this team that we had, the best team. And of course, even my boss, Susie Wiles, the best. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Susie. Look at this, she's shot. I've never seen her be shot before. Susie, they're great. Everybody up here is great. Everybody up here is very special. But the Trump, who did you say? Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. Now he's an amazing guy. We were sitting together tonight. You know, he spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia and different parts of Pennsylvania campaigning. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket, and I saw it coming down. I saw it. It was, when it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it came down, it didn't look so pretty. It was going 10,000 miles an hour, and it was burning like hell. I said, what happened to your paint job? He said, we've never made a paint that could withstand that kind of heat. And, but I saw it come down and turn around. And it was, you know, it's like 22 stories tall, by the way. It looks a little smaller than that, but it's big. And it came down, and you saw that fire burning. And I'm saying, only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon. And I tell the story. I told it last night. I had a man on the phone. I had the screen muted, no sound. I was talking to a very important man, happens to be here. And that very important guy, one of the most important people in, I would say, the country, actually. But, you know, I was president, and now it looks like I was going to be maybe president again. So I figured I could ask him to hold. So I asked him to hold. And because, especially because you're going to be president again, they hold. So I took the phone down, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this crazy thing that's going around and coming down. It looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, oh, no. And I said, do me a favor. Do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this. I thought it was a space age movie or something. I put the phone down. Bad part, I didn't pick it up for 45 minutes, and he was holding. But this spaceship came down, and I saw those engines firing, and it looked like it was over. It was going to smash. And then I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and it put it straight, and it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it, and just like you hold your baby at night, your little baby. And it was a beautiful thing to see, and I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No, nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great. And you know, when we had the tragic Hurricane Helene, and it hit North Carolina, they were really devastated, the water. This was a big water, as big as we've ever seen, water hurricane. It built lakes out of nothing. Fields became lakes, and the danger was unbelievable. And the people from North Carolina came to me and they said, would it be possible, at all possible, for you to speak to Elon Musk? We need Starlink. I said, what's Starlink? It's a form of communication. So I called Elon, and I'll tell you what, he had, and it was very dangerous. People would die. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. So, and it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character. He's a special guy. He's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them.
Word.
We have to protect our super geniuses. I want to thank some of the guys. You know, we have up here today the U.S. Open champion. He's a fantastic golfer, slightly longer than me. It's a little bit longer than me, just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. What happened to Bryson? Where is he? Bryson. Oh, he was shot. He's hitting balls. Oh, he's on the way. He's hitting balls. Bryson. Oh, look at him. He's got a great career going. Great U.S. Open, Bryson. That's a fantastic job. And we also have a man, Dana White, who has done some job. He's a tough guy. So Dana started UFC and came to me, do you mind if I use your, nobody wanted to give him a rinse because they said it's a rough sport, a little rough. And I helped him out a little bit and I went and they said, this is the roughest sport I've ever seen, but I began to like it and he loved it and nobody's done a better job in sports. And you know, he's a very motivational kind of a guy, what he does. He gets these fighters and they really go at it. And it's become one of the most successful sports enterprises anywhere at any time. It's doing so well. I'd like to ask Dana just to say a couple of words because people love to hear from him. Dana, please.
Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hardworking man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family.
They did too much, man.
I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelk boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, busting with the boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan. And thank you, America. Thank you. Have a good night.
That is a piece of work. Now he's really an amazing guy. But most of all, I want to thank the millions of hardworking Americans across the nation who have always been the heart and soul of this really great movement. We've been through so much together, and today you showed up in record numbers to deliver a victory. Like really, I probably like no other. This was something special, and we're gonna pay you back. We're gonna do the best job. We're gonna turn it around. It's got to be turned around. It's got to be turned around fast, and we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna do it in every way, with so many ways, but we're gonna do it in every way. This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control of their country. So I just want to say that on behalf of this great group of people, these are hardworking people. These are fantastic people. And we can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He came in. And he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but Bobby, leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, go have a good time, Bobby. We're going to be paying down debt. We're going to be reducing taxes. We can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else is going to be able to do it. China doesn't have what we have. Nobody has what we have. But we have the greatest people also. Maybe that's the most important thing. This campaign has been so historic in so many ways. We've built the biggest, the broadest, the most unified coalition. They've never seen anything like it in all of American history. They've never seen any young and old, men and women, rural and urban. And we had them all helping us tonight. When you think, I mean, I was looking at it, I was watching it. They had some great analysis of the people that voted for us. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally, we don't have to use it. You know, we had no wars. 4 years, we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time. But we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom. Together, we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny. We're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people. Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately from them. Can you imagine? 901 something, a lot of rallies. And it was sad. Everybody was sad. Many people, I said, this is our last rally. But now we're going on to something that's far more important, because the rallies were used for us to be put in this position where we can really help our country. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make our country better than it ever has been. And I said that many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. Just as I did in my first term, we had a great first term, a great, great first term. I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in this noble and righteous endeavor. That's what it is. It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try, we have to try, and it's going to happen. Success will bring us together. I've seen that. I saw that in the first term. When we became more and more successful, people started coming together. Success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it. Because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Get on up out of here. Period. what I'm talking about. What's up? That's Trump, man. You said YMCA though, right? Listen, if it was the Democratic Party, it might have been worse. It might have brought fucking Lil Nas X out of here, right? It could have definitely been worse. Trust you can touch them niggas. They would have got Lil Nas X. Well, I appreciate y'all for being here. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I appreciate y'all for pulling up. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate y'all for being on the right side of history, you know, and following your boy at the end of the day. I had to endure a lot of persecution over the course of this. You just have no idea. I had to endure a lot from peers and, you know, it was a test for me, you know, having to keep my mouth shut about my opinions and what I feel in certain cases, just to say the piece, because there was so much aggression and so much radicalism going on that certain battles just wasn't worth even getting into or engaging. It's really just let the cards fall where they lay and know that you're making the right choice and you're moving with God at the end of the day. Like if we're talking about God, I believe that God is the people. That's my interpretation of what God is, where the energy is moving and where the people are moving at the end of the day. You know, if you deal with nature, you know, nature, every animal moves in droves. You know what I'm saying? And a certain point in time, they may break off, and you have to deal with or go with the tribe of that has the best chance at survival. And in my opinion, dealing with Kamala, I did not see that. I did not see that backing. Actually, I saw the exact opposite, that she wasn't going to do anything for anyone like me. And that's concerning for me. And once I saw where it was going, with Black people had chose as far as my record, when I dropped Kamala in Black, that's when I knew I was making the right choice as to ultimately support and report on the campaign that I felt was being disingenuous. Unknowingly, you know, a lot of people didn't know that there was some hidden agendas, and I felt like that needed to be exposed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Alicia, people don't like when you have an opinion nowadays, but at the same time, they also persecute you for not having an opinion. Like if you don't say something, right? So both paradigms exist, and it's that catch-22 of being caught in the middle and then being criticized. And then you have to deal with cancel culture and everything that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? So people still might feel a certain way, but that's fine. You know, yeah, as long as we ain't washing collard greens in the tub, I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? As long as we ain't doing that, everything's all right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Trump is the best leader, period. and the country decided, the country made their choice, and that's just what it is. So now you have to do what you have to do to support your president. If you don't support your president, you are doing a disservice to the country. At the end of the day, no matter who wins, if Kamala would have won, it would have been the same thing. You got to now support your president. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, you're just an idiot because it's too late. That now this person is in the seat. You don't understand how politics works. You know what I'm saying? Facts. We're going to do what we needed to do regardless. And a lot of this don't even affect us anyway directly. So, but we'd be foolish not to think that our voices don't matter, especially with social media and everything. I am so proud of myself and my peers and standing 10 toes down. Shout out to Lord Jamar. Shout out to Candace Owens. Shout out to everybody who reposted my stuff. Judge Joe Brown, Alex Jones, everybody that liked, shared, commented, and put my perspective out there as well. And everybody that's been playing the record. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. For the sake of not losing people too early, I had to do a nonpartisan approach to this, and and just let people figure it out for themselves. Like, it's clear where this is gonna go and where it should go because of too many lies that are being told. This woman came out of nowhere, like I said. Nobody knew this woman, and people just expected to just vote Democrat. It's like, you gotta be a fool. You gotta be a fool. So, that's where I stand with it. And, at the end of the day, also the black men around the country, man, that woke the hell up. Black men are quick to run to knowledge. Like we for that. We all for that. So, salute to black men across the country that stood up and that exposed this bitch for who she was, because she's not who she said she was, and she tried to fool the black population of men and women around the country, and we're not going for that. You know what I'm saying? Even if there were a lot of women that didn't get it and thought that she was one of them, we have to expose that. If we're not going to look out for black women who is, they, a lot of black women were fooled in this, and they really thought that she was one of us. You know what I'm saying? Get this bitch out of here, man. Period. She's not one of us. We don't have to be cool about it. We don't got to be cool about it. When you try to pull the black vote and you want to use the black vote as your scapegoat and you playing blackface and you ain't black, I got a problem with that. That's crazy. That's the only reason why I turn my head. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you got to have some sort of conviction. You can't just allow people to do things and not stand 10 toes down. Like, to me, that's what being a man is. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, these different people that come out here, we had to take criticism. This nigga Mike Son was talking crazy. A lot of niggas was talking crazy. I got no problem with saying names. Niggas who was talking crazy about people. Ebro, Rosenberg, all these people, right? They and Charlemagne the God. They get on these different parties. These are the boule. These are the people that just go with the status quo, what they feel is popular. Now, they don't really have an opinion of their own. It's literally, you can pretty much figure out where they stand on shit because it's always the status quo. It's never nothing real. It's never like, nah, even though I am this, I feel this way about this opinion differently than how everyone else does, who is typically like me, stereotypically like me. Everything black has a certain type of feel and vibe to it without even people going and checking on the other side. That's the stuff I can't respect. And especially when these people speak on me or my peers and they don't reach out to us first like men when they say they men. These people will go online and talk crazy about you online, but more simply because you have a difference of opinion about a candidate, they start talking about you. Like, instead of just talking about the candidates. It's weird. You know what I'm saying? And I don't respect it. You know what I'm saying? It's corny. And then, then when we do it back, that's when they start pointing the finger, boom, boom, boom. Like, nah, B. Nah, like, we don't got no business with none of y'all and what y'all opinions are. We stay on our pages and we do what we do. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So calling out people because who they want to vote for and stuff like that, that's why I never made my official thing. I just dropped the knowledge and let people figure it out. Because trying to say that people are clowns or people are, coons, or call them whatever you want to call them simply because they're not voting for the candidate you voting for, is some asinine shit. I don't respect it. That's the goofiest shit ever. because the vote is something that's supposed to be personal to you, and you can keep that for yourself. That's one thing that we all can do. Everybody can come out here and say what they want, but you don't know who anybody's voting for when they get in that booth by themselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's their personal right. So trying to condemn somebody for that is an asinine approach to politics. I don't respect it. I don't respect it from any individual. So that was partially the reason why I did what I wanted to do in reference to this, and it got me so tight. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use my voice and my platform to make sure I make a difference on the flip side, because you're not gonna play in black people's face like that right there in front of me like that. You're not finna do that. You're not finna steal somebody's grandma, and then like these people look like my relatives that was washing laundry and clothes, and now you're gonna say this your grandma? No, she's not. She's your help. Stop playing with me, Kamala. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. So, yeah, the Democratic Party has been treated as crazy from day one, you know, but people aren't really schooled in politics. They swear, I've been studying this and studying that. That's what this nigga, my son, said to me. I've been studying this woman for 4 years. Nigga, she been around way longer than that, bro. We talking about the last 20 years, what she been doing. I don't care what you're saying that she did in the last 4 years as a prosecutor. You know what I'm saying? Bozo. Playing in our faces without consequences should no longer be tolerated. So yeah, if it's okay if people don't like you, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, but don't be leading people down the wrong side of history. At the end of the day, we was right. Now what? At the end of the day, we was right. The majority of America is moving in this direction. We're not fucking with that goofy shit no more. We're just not. We're not doing it. We've already done it. Let's stop acting like we haven't already done it and we don't know how this movie ends. We're not finna play that. So, you know, but now we got to deal with that issue, like the disrespect issue when somebody doesn't believe in what you believe in, or somebody doesn't want to move in the direction that you want to move in. We don't care. We don't care. Stay in your lane and figure it out, nigga. These is goofies. But anyway, I'm about to get up out of here. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for following the movement, following the vibes, everybody who love and support. May the divine force in me, great divine force in you. May you manifest every heart's desire. Ashe, ashe. And lastly, I pray everybody finds a way to unite and build something. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of where America goes. You know, support one another. You know, you be the change that you want to see. Ashe. You know what I mean? Ashe. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Do I. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.